back to my YouTube channel, #Moviebae. I am Moviebae, and in this video, I'm going to be recapping and reviewing the 1999 Enter the Y2K cult classic, fan favorite, Jawbreaker. This movie stars Rose McGowan, Rebecca Gayheart, and Julie Benz. But before I get too into it, though, I want y'all to drop down and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Because here on Moviebae, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. And if that is the type of content that you like, you might as well hit the subscribe button to stick around. If you find yourself enjoying my commentary along the way, don't be afraid to give me a thumbs up and or drop a comment down below. It really helps your girl out with the channel. Push this video. Push this content. Okay, Jawbreaker isn't really getting searched like that, y'all. So put everybody on, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get into a synopsis of this film. 3 of the most popular girls at Reagan High accidentally kill the prom queen with a jawbreaker when a kidnapping goes horribly wrong. When the movie begins, we meet the flawless 4. We have Courtney, who is described to be Satan in heels. She rules the school with terror. She is also played by Rose McGowan. I love Rose McGowan, y'all. Y'all don't even know. Then we have Marcy Fox, a legend in her own mind. We also have Julie, who is popular because she's pretty, like she had to be. And she is also Liz's best friend. And then we have Liz Purr, the picture of perfection. She's nice, popular, rich, and everyone loves her. She is perfect, aka the teen dream. Girls are seen walking around Fern, who is played by Judy Greer, but Liz stops to help her pick up her books. Now, Fern will come into play a little bit later on in this film. Then cut to Liz being kidnapped on her 17th birthday, tied up and gagged. It's exposed that her friend group, Courtney, Marcy, and Julie, are the ones that plan to kidnap her. They were going to take her to breakfast and play another prank on her later at the school. But when they get to the restaurant and pop the trunk, they find Liz is dead. Dead from acute asphyxiation from choking on a jawbreaker. Now, this comes as a surprise to Julie, but not to Courtney, because she's the one who admitted putting the jawbreaker down Liz's throat as a part of an extra ha-ha for the prank. Well, the scene fades to the picture that was taken of Liz, and then the opening credits begin. And then they play my song, y'all. I do not know the name of the song, but I know when I hear it. Leave me right here, cause I don't want to go. That's my song, y'all. I do not know who sing that song to this day, but that is my song, okay? The music, the soundtrack for this movie is so 1990s, Enter the Y2K. The colors, oh my God, I'll get into everything later, y'all. I promise y'all I will. The opening credits is actually the process of how a jawbreaker is actually made, interchanged with the friend group. So it's some like exposition on the friend group dynamic. And we see that Liz is popular, Liz and Julie are closer together, and then Courtney and Marcy are actually closer together. So when the opening scenes end, the girls are debating on if they should tell someone about Liz's murder or lie. And it's always like this in every teen movie. When someone accidentally kills someone, they don't know if they should just tell the truth or if they should try to cover it up. Well, Courtney says that they should just call in sick for Liz, and that'll buy them some time. Of course, Julie, who was Liz's best friend, wants nothing to do with it, but Courtney handles the phone conversation like a pro. She calls in pretending like she's Liz's mother and says to send one of the girls home with her schoolwork. Now, in order to keep up the facade, the girls still have to go to school, and Courtney advises everybody to act like everything is peachy keen. Peachy freaking king. And then enter the bad bitch trio with my other song, I think I do, I think she's something new. Y'all, this soundtrack, I swear to God. So the girls enter the bathroom, and this is where we meet Fern Mayo. Fern is one of the little nerdy girls, okay? But Julie is actually nice to her, while Marcy pushes her out of the bathroom. Then we have Miss Sherwood that tells the girl that Liz is absent and that they will need to take her assignments home to her. Followed by Mrs. Sherwood telling Courtney to button up her blouse because this is not a brothel. Do it yourself. Every class period reflects the girl's mood. Julie feels guilty. Courtney is all about sex, unbothered, unfazed. And Marcy cracks a bloody egg and panics at the sight of it. Now, after school, the girls come up with a plan. they, meaning Courtney, of putting Liz back into bed and making it look like she was grape juiced to frame someone else for her untimely end. And when she's painting this picture, all the girls are just like engulfed into this world that Courtney has just finessed out of thin air. And you really get the hint or the insight that Courtney might have a couple of screws loose. Like, how is she so unfazed by what's happening and so quick to just make up a lie on her feet? And she also tells the girls this line that is going to come up again later, that people will believe that Liz was grape juice because it's their worst nightmare. The teen dream obliterated by perversion. Because Courtney was late to pick up Liz's assignments, Mrs. Sherwood gives Fern the opportunity to take them home to Liz. Now, this is when we find out just how obsessed Fern is with Liz. She practices what she's going to say. I did also want to mention how when she's walking to Liz's house, she picks up a pretty flower and discovers that there's a big nasty bug in it. Now, you know, a little writer in me is like metaphor, okay? Like what looks pretty on the outside isn't always what it seems to be, hence the big nasty bug. Girls catch up with Mrs. Sherwood and they find out that the assignments were given to Fern. Now, because the girls have a car, they beat Fern back to Liz's house, put Liz back in the bed so they could go ahead and put their plan into motion. And while Courtney and Marcy are working with the body, Julie is reminiscing and looking at pictures of the girls. She opens up a card from last year's prank and Liz's voice is heard saying, "What are you doing to me?" Which obviously creeps the girls out. And she just keeps opening the card and it just keeps saying, "What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?" And it's so weird because they are literally framing Liz's body to make it look like she was assaulted and murdered. Courtney takes the card away from Julie and she's holding it while she says these words, "I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it." And they're just talking about how it was an accident and they should go to the cops. And all the while, Fern walks in on the girls and she's just listening to them from the other side of the door. They hear a sound. They go to open the door to see Fern standing there. Now, that's when Courtney is asking Fern, "Fern, what did you hear?" Fern is quiet. She's nervous. She's shaking. "I'm just here to drop off the homework." Courtney's like, "Okay, that's great, darling, but I need to know everything. What did you hear?" Julie tries to interject and take up for Fern, saying she's going to take her home. But, of course, Courtney puts that hand out. "Fern, what did you hear?" And then that is when Fern sees Liz's body sprawled out on the bed. She panics and runs downstairs. The girls run after Fern, Courtney yelling to Marcy to get her. Marcy catches up with her. They sit her down and they try to bargain with her. At this point, Fern knows that the girls are the ones that killed Liz, okay? So what else can we do but try to bribe her? And what more does a non-popular, nerdy, not that pretty girl want? A makeover and friendship. And of course, Fern obliges. We have this lovely makeover montage where they're dyeing her hair blonde and she's getting all jazzed up. And then cut to Liz's parents getting home from their trip and finding her body in the bed. Honestly, it looked like it's been there for a while. And I'm thinking, what kind of parents go out of town on their daughter's 17th birthday? Like, who does that? White parents. White parents are never home in these movies and television shows, y'all. The girls have returned back to school and we see that Fern has replaced Julie and Julie is now sitting with the weirdos. Julie comes up to the girls at lunch and she shares the information that Liz's parents had came home. And Courtney ensures that she has already made sure that they won't go down for it. But if Julie decides to talk, then the girls will blame her for the murder. Now it's time to get Fern accustomed to the popular girl life, okay? And rule number 1, we do not eat in public, but especially not out of a brown paper bag. People will think that you're like them if they see you eating like them. And like, it's at this point in time, if you never caught on before, how similar Mean Girls is to Jawbreaker. Granted, obviously Jawbreaker came out first, but you can tell that Tina Fey, who wrote Mean Girls, was highly influenced by Jawbreaker. Fern is also made aware of her new name, and it is now Violet. All right. So I don't know why a lot of the kids in the school think that she is just completely somebody brand new to the school. And it's always like that in makeover scenes. Like, all they did was cut and color her hair. She's the same damn person. Oh, and obviously put on some more tight-fitting clothes. You know what I'm saying? But Julie starts hanging out with a different crowd. More specifically, her new theater boo. And one night, Julie decides that she's going to call Fern, and they reminisce on how they used to be friends in elementary and middle school alongside Liz. Courtney calls Violet on the other line, and the walk down memory lane is now over. Because Liz's body has been found, of course it's time to investigate. When Courtney is getting intimate with her boyfriend, the police come to her door. Marcy is at home having dinner with her father, and they're having a conversation how he's afraid that she's a follower, and their conversation is interrupted by the doorbell. We also see that Julie is actually over to Liz's parents' house, and she's helping console them because, remember, Liz and Julie were best friends. Now, the next day, the girls are then interrogated at the school. Julie and Marcy play dumb, like they don't know what happened, but Courtney plays it straight. She's unshaken. She's unbothered. The news of Liz passing is finally shared with the school, and they find out that she passed away of acute asphyxiation. The cause of death is suffocation, her choking on that Jawbreaker. Detective Vera, who's played by Pam Grier, says a neighbor saw a girl carrying school books up to Liz's house that afternoon. Miss Sherwood shares that she sent Fern Mayo with those books, but she's been absent for a couple of days. Now, we all know that Fern Mayo is Violet. Now, when Detective Vera interviews Fern, aka Violet, it is so clear that Violet had an obsession with Liz, as we saw how she spoke highly of her. She talked about how she stared at the back of her neck, and the freckles she played basically connect the dots with the freckles on the back of Liz's neck, okay? And Vera's just looking at her like, yeah, she's a suspect. She's obsessed. So in order to shake Detective Vera's suspicion of the girls, Courtney comes up with a plan. She decides to call Detective Vera and tells her that Liz had a craving for meeting and sleeping with strange men. That's when we get this flash of a woman walking into a bar and picking up a guy. But that body, baby, that body is clearly Rose McGowan's, okay? So she takes this man back home to what we see is Liz's house, sleeps with him in her bed, while Liz's dead body is underneath it. Like, when I tell y'all Courtney is crazy, y'all, Courtney is batshit insane. Meanwhile, everybody at school is so infatuated by the mystery of this new girl, Violet. And apparently she was one of the last people to see Liz alive. So now everybody wants to be her friend. So Courtney and Marcy are even trying to get her a boyfriend, which just so happens to be Julie's drama boo. And no tea, no shade, but Violet is becoming a little bit of a bitch. She's bullying Julie, flirting with her man. She's the head cheerleader now. She's hooking up with guys for cars, and might I add, cars that are better than Courtney, okay? Now, one day Violet is putting on a show in the front of the school, drawing all the attention to herself. And you know Courtney can't have that. So Courtney snatches her ass up. This is where we have the Courtney and Fern showdown. And I mean, Courtney drags Fern into the bathroom, bangs her head against the mirror, and lets her know, I made you and I can break you. And Violet comes back with I have the power over you because I know the truth. Move. Oh, no, she did it. Courtney, you gonna let her talk to you like that, Courtney? Of course not. This is when Courtney decides that she's gonna post pictures of Fern all over the school, letting everybody know that Violet is actually Mayo. When everybody sees the pictures, they start laughing at her and taunting her right into the path of Courtney and Marcy, where she ultimately faints. Let's catch up with Julie, shall we? Now, after Zach, that's Theater Boo, tells Julie how Violet has been hitting on him, she breaks down and tells him the whole origin story of Violet, which of course has everything to do with Liz's murder. He's obviously appalled, but not as upset as I think he should be. But he does encourage her to tell someone. That's when they decide that they're going to try to dig up evidence on Courtney, but they couldn't find the Polaroid that they took at the restaurant of Liz's body. Julie decides that she's going to go turn herself into Detective Cruz, but that's when Detective Cruz say, oh, we already have a man in custody, which Julie knows is bullshit. This leads to Julie confronting Courtney, but Courtney is my bitch, baby. Courtney is not scared at all. Julie puts that hand up in front of that locker, and when I tell y'all, Courtney looked at her arm like, bitch, if you don't move. Oh my God, I wish I could find the clip and put it in here, okay? But that is literally my favorite scene because what? Courtney is that girl. Now, later on that night, Julie's mom brings her a box of Liz's belongings, and she opens it up to find, an old birthday card. And when she opens that birthday card, it's no longer saying, what are you doing to me? But instead, it's Courtney's voice accidentally recording herself saying, I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it. So now Julie finally has evidence against Courtney. Now, it's time for prom, you guys. Julie and Fern are being made fun of for being each other's date to prom because y'all know they are no longer at the peak of the social hierarchy. But guess who is? Courtney. Courtney is back to being Queen Bee, and she's a shoo-in for prom queen because, well, Liz is dead. Which, this makes you wonder because this is the second time being referenced to winning prom queen because Liz is no longer alive in the film. We all knew that Courtney was jealous of Liz, but she didn't really kill this girl just to be prom queen, did she? We sure would hope not. Now it's time to announce the winners for prom king and prom queen. And of course, quarterback football star Dane wins prom king. And Courtney Shane is announced prom queen. Now, when she goes up to accept her crown and her scepter, we then hear a voice recording, a very familiar voice recording to us by now, saying, I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it. And it's played a couple of times, and people are slowly starting to recognize, wait, that's Courtney's voice. You kill Liz? People begin to throw things at Courtney and then boo her off of the stage. Marcy retreats underneath a table to hide from any scrutiny, but Courtney's demise is caught on camera, sent into a freeze frame, leading us into Reagan High's class of 1999's yearbook as it closes and the credits roll. You guys, that is my recap for the 1999 cult classic Jawbreaker. This is definitely one of my favorite indie films. There are definitely some artistic editing choices in this film. One of my subscribers said that they don't really remember the movie clearly, but they do remember being scared or creeped out by it. And that's definitely the artistic choices that the director decided to make. This is probably one of the first depiction of artistic films that I have ever witnessed. Because like I said, it was 1999. So I was 6 at the time. However, I do remember renting this from Blockbuster. So I had to be probably at least 9 or 10 when I first saw this. You could clearly understand each character in this movie without having a whole backstory for them. It was told through the wardrobe, just to have the acting, the dialogue. It was so clear that Marcy was a follower to Courtney and Courtney was jealous of Liz. You didn't have to say it. It was shown, and that is good writing. I love how cold-hearted Courtney was. I mean, she is the epitome of a mean girl. She's a bitch, okay? One of my favorite things about this film, though, is the Y2K colors. The fashion is very pin-up-y, but the colors and the music of this film, it just screams entering a new millennium. And that's I'm a millennial baby. This, I live for this. Thank you guys for tuning into another throwback review. Another indie film that I have recently reviewed is 13. Please make sure y'all go check that out. I also have other throwback movies on this channel as well. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my commentary, and don't forget to drop a comment down below. What was your favorite part about Jawbreaker? Have you ever seen it? If not, did I just put you on? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.